Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, happy Sunday. We're about to start a new week. So, let's talk about what to expect for Bitcoin, but also, it's been requested I talk about some of my favorite crypto projects. So, today I'm going to talk about 3 individual ones as well. So, what are they? Let's get started. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media, check out CryptosRUs.com, and make sure you follow the brand new channels. There will be a new video, a very interesting Reacts video that's coming later today, so you definitely want to make sure you check it out and subscribe. All right, guys, welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing good today. Market is looking pretty good so far. Can't complain. Bitcoin is still holding above 23,000 right now. Kind of in a waiting period. But while Bitcoin is waiting, the crypto market cap is still going up. So slowly and surely, there's a little bit more money, a little bit more buying that's happening right now in this space. More and more people are starting to get used to the fact that maybe we are past bottom and maybe we are on our way to recovery and more money is flowing back in. And that's fantastic. And what about this week? Anything interesting this week? Not really. This is going to be a very, I would say, calm week. Most of the earnings happened already last week. In terms of economic data, there's a few more, but not the major ones, not that I found, right? So this week should be pretty tame, a lot more tame than last week, and I should say last 2 weeks. I think the only thing that people are really worried about right now is what's going on between China and Taiwan. There's more cat and mouse kind of things going on, drills or flaunting, chest beating right now, right? China is still not a fan of what happened with Pelosi visiting, right? I think this really comes down to, TSMC. That's what it really comes down to. I think if you boil it down in terms of what everyone is afraid of is China taking over. I'm sure that's oversimplification. I know there's many other things going on, many other properties and assets and sovereign things that they're worried about. But overall, I think the U.S. cares about TSMC as it is so important for so many things around the world and in the U.S. But right now, I think that's the big worry for this week. Is it going to escalate? Is it going to turn into something bigger? Let's hope not. I don't think so, but let's just certainly hope that it doesn't, right? All right, so that's economic data. There's really not much else. I mean, things to look forward to this week. Not much else going on. As for Bitcoin and an entire space overall, you're seeing a ton of Bitcoin still flowing out of the exchanges, right? Just yesterday, about 200,000. I don't know. That's a lot. No, that's actually way more than that. That's millions. No, 200,000. No, yeah, 200,000. I don't know why I'm misinterpreting that. But 200,000 flew out of the exchanges. Ethereum, about 40 million. Tether, about 10 million, right? So overall net flow is in the negative, and that's what we want to see. The more negative it is, that means the more that are coming out of the exchanges, more is being spent, or more is being deposited into cold storage, which is, of course, very, very hot right now, as it should be. Cold storage and learning how to secure your own crypto is very, very important, right? So don't skip out on learning how to secure your own crypto. Don't. All right, so there's that. Of course, the number of people holding Bitcoin still skyrocketing. Nothing has changed there. Addresses holding 0.1 coins. 0.1, which is still a lot if you think about it. That means you have over $2,300 worth of Bitcoin, right? And again, a lot of people can't even afford to put that much into Bitcoin. To even have any left over to put in Bitcoin is very, very hard for many, many, many individuals around the world. So even having zero point 0.1 Bitcoin is somewhat of an accomplishment. And of course, that number keeps going up and up and up, and it's just not stopping. A new all-time high at 3.7, almost 3.8 million right there, right? So obviously, a lot of people are still getting in, not just the holders, but new people are coming in. That is why there's more and more addresses being formed, and why there's so many that that continue to put in 0.1 Bitcoin, and that's why we're going all-time high. All right, so that's pretty much what I want to start out with Bitcoin. Now let's talk about some of these projects. I know a lot of you guys, and almost basically in Q&A, it's all about which projects you guys like, which projects you're holding, which projects you're looking at. What should I do? Do I like this? Do I like that better, right? So going forward, I'm going to start talking a little bit more and concentrating more on altcoins and a lot of these crypto projects that I've talked about for years and ones that are up and coming, right? So I'm going to start talking a little bit more, but of course not stop ever talking about Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is still the big daddy. All right, so number one, I think most of you guys already know. I mean, you can see from the thumbnail, unless you're completely new, but number one is Ethereum. And by the way, this is outside of Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is always going to be part of my portfolio, and it should be part of everyone's portfolio. So don't take this video as, okay, we're skipping Bitcoin. No, Bitcoin should be in everyone's portfolio. This is outside of Bitcoin. And number two is Ethereum. And this is no-brainer. Why would you not hold Ethereum at this point? It's the second largest crypto by market cap. It's been around since 2016. It's quite old. And almost every innovation that has happened in the space has spurred from Ethereum. So you don't want to skip on Ethereum. And there's this big upgrade that's, of course, happening in September, which is considered a merge, which will merge the two active chains going on right now. Actually, I should say active and passive chain. The active chain is the proof of work chain that exists right now, and the passive one is the proof of stake chain that is being built, and they will merge together, right? That's why they call the merge. And once the merge happens, Ethereum will officially move to proof of stake. And the reason for that is, well, there's a couple reasons. Number one, the energy consumption by moving to proof of stake decreases by 99.95. Right now, mining is very intensive. And by the way, interesting fact, I was just told one of my neighbors in my neighborhood is mining Bitcoin because people have noticed that there's this whining noise coming from the house 24/7. So I didn't quite believe it. So I walked over there, stood outside the house, and sure enough, you could hear these high-pitched whining coming from the basement. And it does seem like he or she is mining Bitcoin full-time out of their basement. It's quite interesting. There's a lot of people in crypto now. A lot of people. Anyways, just an interesting side story. But yeah, so by moving to proof of stake, energy consumption is decreased by a significant amount. And also what most people care about is how Ethereum could scale afterwards. Right now, there's so much congestion, right? Can't handle a lot of transactions. And when it can't, the gas fees go sky high, sometimes paying thousands of dollars just to make one single transaction. That's no good. It's not sustainable. It's not scalable, right? By moving to proof of stake, will allow it to jump to the next evolution, which is to scale. Really, that's the main point of this. And the end goal is to scale Ethereum to 100,000 transactions per second, right? So that is what Vitalik wants. We're still a little bit far off from there, but this is the first step. So this is coming in September. Now, besides this, there is something else that's pretty major that people may have missed out on. Besides, okay, this sounds good for the future, but how will it impact Ethereum right now? The biggest thing is ETH issuance will drop by 90% after this happens. And in fact, it will probably make ETH deflationary afterwards. That's the thing that most people miss out on. Right now, through mining, there's a ton of ETH that gets distributed, right, to the miners. And right now, ETH, unlike Bitcoin, is not capped. There's no cap. I mean, there's just more and more ETH coming, though it's pretty slow compared to overall supply, but there's a lot, right? But after moving to proof of stake, the number of ETH being distributed per day and per year will drop significantly to the stakers. So it'll drop to about 0.6 million per year, about 600,000, right? And if you take into account that right now you have about 2.7 million ETH burned just from the transactions, you have a net loss of 2.1 million ETH per year, which essentially makes ETH deflationary, right? And if ETH heats up again, right, if the entire market starts getting really hot and there's so many people coming on board and buying NFTs and buying other ETH-based, tokens and using more DeFi projects on ETH, and if that ETH increase, the ETH transactions increases, then there's going to be more burning. But the biggest thing is the ETH issuance. The number of ETH being released into the market will drop about 90%, and that's significant. That's significant. So I think a lot of people have missed out on that fact. So near term, it's going to make ETH a lot more deflationary, and that could be a gigantic thing as Ethereum starts climbing up and as the entire market starts climbing up. So keep that in mind. And the number of holders for Ethereum continues to rise. This is looking at the number of people that hold 32 ETH, because 32 ETH is required for you to stake once Ethereum moves to proof of stake. So you need to have at least 32 ETH, which is a significant amount. Not everyone can afford this. And right now, you only have 117,000 addresses that have at least 32 coins. But you could see it's been going up. People have been stocking up since Ethereum has fallen to its recent levels, right? And then, lastly, just a couple of things about ETH in case you wonder, how big ETH really is besides just market cap. I've shown this before in terms of total value locked. ETH commands a 58% market share of all the DeFi, all the liquidity, the bridges and tokenization, synthetic tokens, everything. You put it all together, ETH commands close to 60% of everything. And if you look at, let's say, NFTs, for example, if you look at the NFT sales by volume, number one is Ethereum at 11 million. Number two, Solana is at 1.4. That's like 10%. And then it drops down significantly. So I don't know what about the total percentage, but ETH commands a huge percentage, probably over 50% of ETH NFT sales as well. So there's a big gap between Ethereum and anyone else out there. So number one is ETH. It seems obvious, right? It seems obvious with everything else going on and how big they are. They are the big daddy of L1s, of network protocols, of smart contracts, however you want to call it, right? You can't skip out on ETH. All right, now, second one is I'm going to talk about BNB. Again, I've said this before. A lot of people just miss out on BNB. They choose to skip over it, maybe because they don't trust Binance or trust CZ. But BNB should be one that people pay attention to. For the second quarter, outperformed every other smart contract network. Its ratio to BTC is at an all-time high. BNB kind of just hovers around. Sometimes it just acts really boring and doesn't move. But that's also good when things are down and there's a lot of volatility. So despite a lot of projects falling recently, down 50, 60, 70, 80%, BNB kind of just hovers around, and you could see it's about to flip to number 4. It's at a 52 billion market cap. About a fourth of Ethereum. But at one point in time, it was half of Ethereum, right? So BNB is an absolute monster. They have their own chain, obviously. They have various exchanges that uses BNB for discounts, and there's other things that's going on. For example, they have coin burning. Many people don't realize it, but every quarter, Binance burns a ton of BNB based on their profits. Just last quarter, they burned $750 million worth of BNB. And this will continue, right, and increase as more and more people get into Binance and utilize Binance's ecosystem, right? So there's a huge burning that happens. There is a cap on the total supply as well. There is no more. There's no inflation for BNB, right? And Binance themselves are still partnering up all the time. The latest one, they partnered with MasterCard to release a new crypto card in Argentina, but you know that that's just the beginning. They definitely want to get involved with a lot of developing countries and just with credit cards overall. Also, CZ kind of mocked some of the other exchanges out there, saying that, hey, while everyone else is kind of struggling due to large sponsor deals or Super Bowl ads or stadium, naming rights, we're not struggling. We're hiring. And this came out 2 months ago. BNB, as far as I know, I didn't hear any reports about laying people off, firing people, withdrawing applicants. They're still growing by leaps and bounds right now. That shows you how healthy they also are. And if you look at some of the other things that I've mentioned before, if you look at TVL, Binance Smart Chain is at number 3, although I don't recognize Tron as number 2. I don't trust Tron at all. So I'm just going to say Binance Smart Chain is number 2. So they definitely have a ton of apps, 438 to be exact. So they're second in terms of DeFi dApps. They're second of all chains, and they're second in terms of TVL, although there's a big difference between TVL, between Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum. There's a huge gap, but nevertheless, they are still number 2, right? So I think BNB is definitely one to watch. A lot of people skip over it, and it's one of those projects that people just always skip on until they realize, okay, now it's at like number 3 on CMC. All right, moving forward, what else is there? You know what? Another one that I really like, that I've been talking about a lot, is Polygon. Polygon has some great things going on. It got big because it jumped on Ethereum's back. Polygon is a layer 2, so it's EVM compatible. Its tokens are compatible with Ethereum, right? As long as you use a bridge. But basically, they rode the coattails of Ethereum to where they are, but they are absolutely beast right now, and they are still climbing up. Because of their nature, they're already in proof of stake, and they're developing, well, actually they have developed their new ZK EVM technology. I mean, fees on Polygon is so dirt low, right? So if you want to transfer, you want to do anything basically with cheap fees or low fees, right? And in a very fast way, you basically do it on top of Polygon. So that is why Polygon is growing by leaps and bounds, and there's so many things happening. Now, I mentioned about their scaling capabilities. They're the first one to come out with ZK EVM, which means that people, or not people, but dApps that want to utilize the Ethereum virtual machine for much cheaper and to process much faster, you use Polygon's ZK EVM, and this is one of the things they've been working on. Polygon spent billions over the last few years purchasing other projects that have been involved with ZK technology. From a privacy perspective, from a scaling perspective, Polygon is really serious about expanding upon ZK, and this is a big thing that they announced just last month, actually just a few weeks ago. So there's that, and of course they're still making big partnerships. I think people missed out. I missed out on this. Mercedes, they're choosing Polygon for a new platform, some kind of data sharing platform they're doing, right? So that's pretty big, Mercedes-Benz, right? And their NFT marketplaces, like Reddit's new NFT marketplace, where is it built on? Polygon, right? All these new NFT marketplaces that are coming out, they don't launch on Ethereum anymore. They launch on Polygon, right? So Polygon is still growing by leaps and bounds from DAS perspective, from platform perspective, right? And if you look at, they always post out all these like metrics, weekly metrics, number of weekly users, number of transactions per day, right? Is still growing. And take a look at this. Their cost per transaction is 2 cents. 2 cents, right? And you versus Ethereum during its heyday of $2,000. I know that's not very often, but still, it's a big gap, right? But they have close to 3 million users. I'm sorry, 3 million transactions per day, which is actually more than Ethereum. Okay, Ethereum processes anywhere between 1 to 1.8 million transactions per day. They're already close to double that. And number of weekly active users is sky high. So Polygon is definitely one you don't want to miss out on too. And they just recently added a major stablecoin, USDC, which will cut gas fees. Because right now, even though USDC is supported, you have to use the bridge to kind of bridge between Ethereum and Polygon. You don't have to do that anymore. So that they're native on Polygon now. So this is also a big achievement for Polygon. So a lot of great things also happening with Polygon as well. All right, so those are the three that I want to concentrate on today. This list is not the end-all be-all list. It does not mean that others that I haven't mentioned, like Cardano or VeChain or Avalanche, doesn't mean that they're all garbage. No, it does not mean that at all. It just means I don't have enough time. So, but yeah, I just want to start out with this list. All right, guys, let's do some Q&A. Black Tornado, thank you. I could put on some lights, but me, myself, I actually kind of like this look too. Kind of this like cinematic look. All right, scrolling on, let me make sure I didn't miss anything while I was talking. Hey, George from Cyprus, welcome. Using Nano S is easy. If anyone's nervous to buy one, don't be. It is actually kind of easy. But still, easy is relative because there are a lot of new people coming in. The only thing they know how to do is use Coinbase. And using anything else, even transferring out of Coinbase, is difficult. So I suggest you guys to, watch some videos, read some guides. I have guides on how to use a ledger and any other wallet on CryptosRUs.com. So check it out. Step-by-step guide. Right now, definitely important to be safeguarding your own crypto, like using a ledger or something else. Let's see. Still scrolling here. Boost and Float says something that's interesting. All this BS regarding food prices, fuel, mass Great Depression, restaurants full, malls full, everyone out and buying, spending, major recession, okay, mild at best. Boost and Flow, I think I somewhat agree with you, right? There are people that are struggling from higher food prices and higher gas prices and higher mortgages and higher rents, right? But you sound like you're doing well, right? You're not struggling. And there are a lot of people that are not struggling, right? But this is also the reason why I think the economy is not going to be nearly as bad as some people say, because some of the reasons you mentioned. You go to restaurants, you go to, even Best Buy, you go to any retail store, you go to clothing stores, you go to the mall, they all have a help wanted sign up. Every single one is still looking to hire. Right, so I do think that things are gonna get better. I think we've suffered for 8 months since 2021, and things are improving. Right, gas prices, oil prices coming down, supply chain is improving, labor force is still strong. Rates, even though they're high, well, they're not going to be high forever. They're high until inflation comes down. Then the government can stop raising the rates and maybe even decrease rates, but that causes complications too. But we'll see next year. A lot of people think that Fed will reverse and actually cut rates next year. We'll see about that. Let's see. Some people have made fortunes from Trondo. There's people that made fortunes from everything, okay? Even Ponzi's. Does not make it a fine project. All right, Zach, just to clarify. Lucid asked about A0. I have no thoughts on it because I don't know what project that is. Someone says Reddit sucks. Me, myself, I never use Reddit. You know, I've never gotten into the thing, and I hate how the mods, you know, they're power hungry. They just like delete things whenever, and then you gotta prove yourself to be able to post all this stuff. I've never gotten to Reddit because of it. I actually was gonna start my own thread, CryptosRUs, thread, but I just thought it's not worth the time or effort. How many layer ones will be here in actually 10 years? A lot. You know, it's really hard to kill crypto. It's really hard to kill crypto. Some of these projects were left for dead after 2014's crash, after 2017's crash or 2018's crash. They were left for dead, and then they all came back to life in 2021. So it's actually really hard to kill crypto. But it doesn't mean just because they're not dead that they're going to become a powerhouse. No, that's not what it means. But in terms of the number of L1s being alive 10 years from now, could be all of them. And the number of cryptos go from 20,000 to 200,000. Wow, you're the second person that said hi from Cyprus. I guess a lot of people from Cyprus tunes in. Harmony's still alive. They are. But kind of neutral on them now because of the hack and because of DeFi Kingdoms wanting to leave. So more neutral on them. And we'll see what happens if they could pull through, maybe draw in more dApp makers, more TVL. Is Adam a good project? Yeah, I like Adam. Wow, another person from Cyprus. Jared, hey, appreciate that, man. Hi from Sweden, no to NATO. Why no to NATO? They already been approved. Don't ask me about Litecoin. I don't know if you guys are trolling, but don't ask me about Litecoin. Roy says, have we seen the bottom? I was expecting loads of altcoin to go to zero, but not really. That's usually what happens. There's always anticipation of more pain, but rarely does more pain actually happen, right? It doesn't. I don't mean that it never happens. Obviously, we did have a lot of pain already, but many people were predicting Bitcoin was going to go lower to like 10,000 or 12,000 and ETH going to like 200 or 300. I just feel like people just like to spread FUD, spread misery. Some may have done it on purpose just so they could buy lower, especially the big boys spreading, doing interviews and utilizing the media to kind of drive more fear. But, at some point you got to realize, first of all, I talked about the economy. I don't think the economy is nearly as bad as some people are putting out to be. And second of all, you look at Bitcoin and the number of holders, and you look at the metrics about the growth, it never stopped. The metrics still show Bitcoin is stronger than ever. It's stronger now than even at 69,000. If you look at the addresses and everything else that's going on Bitcoin. So you gotta kind of just put everything together, put two and two together, and then realize that, yeah, it's not that bad, and it's not gonna get worse, and we are recovering. That's really it. Taco, I don't have any thoughts on Shibarium. A layer 2 by Shib. I hope it does well, but it's not done yet, so I don't really have any thoughts on it right now. Bitcoin, man, I really want to see some buy pressure. I want to see Bitcoin break above this 42. Man, after we break above this 42 mark, we're going to see some fireworks. I don't put a line here, but you clearly see like rejected here. 1, 2, 3 times here. Man, once we break through this, oof, go see some fireworks. I'm looking forward to that. UK inflation has hit 13%. I think they're anticipating it's going to hit 13%. It hasn't hit 13% yet. They're at 9.3, but they're thinking that inflation will get up to 13%, which of course isn't good. But UK is a little bit different than the US. They're more dependent on Europe, obviously trade among other countries in Europe, and most countries in Europe are affected by the war. So I think Europe is a little bit different. I don't know what's happening with after Boris Johnson resigned. I don't know who is prime minister. I haven't kept up with that. I don't know if the whole situation with what's going on in UK getting better, but yeah, it does seem like UK is suffering a little bit more than the US at this point. IOTA Shimmer Network, is that their new EVM compatible network? IOTA has been talking about like many different chains. You know, there's development chain, their chain to move towards EVM compatibility. I don't know if that's a Shimmer network, but if it is, I don't know if it's too late. There's just a lot of EVM compatible chains now. A lot of people coming out their own EVM compatibility chain. I mean, even Cardano has one. Cardano has one. Nervos has one. I know IOTA is coming up with one. Everyone is kind of switching because EVM is the hot thing. I mean, Polkadot has one. I mean, everyone has one. Do I have a discount code for Ledger? No, I don't. I'm sorry. But if you guys want to pick up a Ledger, you can feel free to use my affiliate link in my description, but I don't have any discounts. Periodically, you know what? Maybe I'll take that back. I think they sent me something, but it's like a limited time thing. Periodically, they do have discounts, but for most part, they're about the same. They don't really change all that much. Yeah, until Sunday. Oh, I guess I do have a 10% discount code. I think, yeah. I got an email here. You could use this. And you could clearly see from the code who they're aiming that towards. You know what? I'm just going to pin it to the chat. There we go. How much do I need to reach in BTC before starting altcoins? There's no right or wrong answer to that. You know, I just suggest everyone's portfolio is different size. I just suggest holding, you know, close to 50% in Bitcoin. Then the remaining amount, go with big caps, mid caps, small caps, right? You know, so there's really no like magical number you need to get. Although getting to 1 BTC would be a great accomplishment. A lot of you guys have reached that, but a lot of you guys are nowhere close to it. I think reaching 1 BTC is a really good goal to have. Shimmer Network will have much more than EVM compatibility. Since so many people are asking about it, let's take a look. 0 fees, 0 bridges, 0 limitations. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how that's possible. I know 0 fees is based on IOTA, but when they say 0 fees, there is a fee. I mean, the fee is to verify other transactions. Okay, so that's their fee. But about 0 bridges and 0 limitations, I don't know about that. All right, native tokens, feeless NFTs. Others have started doing that. UTXO model. Okay, build your own EVM-based dApps. Okay, yeah, so you're using the same like code base, basically. I don't know if that's the right word. Some same development tools, custom tokens. Basically, you can mint your own tokens. Well, you could do that on Polygon as well. That's EVM compatible. Yeah. I mean, it's very similar to all the other layer 2s, except this is built on IOTA, which is a DAG, which is not a blockchain. So there's, I guess, some inherent advantages to that. But as for, you know, everything else is pretty similar. Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, not that it can't do well, but IOTA has been hovering around for so many years, and they've made a lot of changes. They kind of need to go with a plan and just move forward. So they're right above Phantom. I'm a big fan of Phantom. So let's see if their move to Shimmer is going to help them. Did I see Cyberpunk TIFF NFTs? Yeah, I did. I actually did I did a React video on my React channel, and it bombed horribly because no one cares about it. But yeah, Tiffany is they're trying to get into the crypto game as much. I don't know if they're gonna sell out. I guess maybe some people will buy it, but there's only gonna be 250 for CryptoPunk holders. And if you're a CryptoPunk holder, most likely you're rich. So they're thinking, well, if you're rich, then you go spend 30 ETH for it. But I don't know. You know, this time right now, maybe not a whole lot of CryptoPunk holders wants to spend an extra 30 ETH on one. Kathy Wood, buy high, sell low. That's been her motto recently. She has not been doing well with some of her picks and some of her sell-offs. So I don't know. Kind of question whether or not she's actually really good at what she does. I know she's stuck with Tesla for a long time, and that's what made her famous. But as for everything else, I haven't heard about any of her other calls being really fantastic. It could be just because of the time. Everything is down right now. So, but we'll see when things come back up. We'll see how ARK Invest does. All right, guys, that is it. I'll let you guys go. Overall, let's see what happens this week. This week should be kind of boring. Not a whole lot of things going on, and that could be a good thing. That could be a great thing. But Bitcoin is still doing good. Altcoins, crypto overall is doing good. I covered 3 projects today that I believe in. Definitely 3 to watch, but I'll be covering a lot more in the future. All right? Take care, guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, bright and early, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. And make sure to check out my new Reacts video coming up later this afternoon on my Reacts channel. All right. Bye-bye.